Hello, my name is Steve Bright. I'm a foreign ed teacher. I was in the past, but now I'm not. Now I'm studying mechanical engineering. I've been looking for work and I found a job at VID, 3D printing. So in that job, I did an interview. So in 3D printing, you inform me about this. So I went to the interview, and it went fine. And so they set up my job there. I went through the process with the work. His finger spelling was pretty fast. So he was accommodating me. And things were going along really well. So this job, I was feeling really well. Inside. So we're together. And this one is something typing. And there was a man. He had to write back and forth. He didn't understand any signs, so we're going through. Oh, it's a family company, family-oriented company. And they had more people, so then I became a little curious. So I've been working for 10 years. I've been using computers, working in mouses, doing printing, 3D printing, and I was doing the assembling. In the first dimension, and then you do other dimensions in order, step by step. And the shapes. Yep. And doing the different dimensions, everything was working well. He was learning some science too, so we were accommodating each other. And still, still a group. We were growing, and it was hard to keep communicating. But I accept the changes. And you keep working there for a couple more years. God was included. Keep working around. New software program for the computers. So when they implemented it, I was curious. They paid for it. Okay. So new 3D printing. It's a new experience. I remember that from my other job. Oh, so I know about 3D printing. So just see 3D printing. And it was, he was learning new software too. And it was really fancy. I was just like, wow. I was really interested. I was captivated by this. So we made a new software. We set it up the machines. So we just doing 3D printing. And people all around are asking like, what ask questions about it. An impression. We made a good impression. So we moved the software over. And it was the same. It was the same thing all around. So we tried a new template and we set it up. And it's still the same. You change a few things, but still a solid material. So the reason having is taken care of. How you do the 3D. And positives and negatives. Yeah, 3D. Okay, this not gonna work. No, like I'm getting so frustrated. I forgot we're 740. I'm sorry. That was the most frustrating thing I've ever done.
And we were all ready to go through the process. It was a little bit complex at first. It was a challenge at first with all the different details we had to go through, but we had to try it out, and that was my job, so I went along with it. And looking at the 3D shapes, and it was a long time putting it all together and increasing the size of the shape. Files. We had to look at different files. They were pretty thick files, and we had to work through all of those files, and it was a slow process. But slowly but surely, I was able to contact a coworker of mine and tell him about the process that we were doing, and it tended to be sorted out regularly, and it required a weird situation. We had to analyze a lot of different aspects of the 3D printer, but I didn't say anything. I just be very patient with it with my other coworkers. And the 2D printer, right? I tended to needed like 2 or 1 weeks, and it was done. I knew how to use it, and I just tossed it out. Didn't need it anymore. And the 3D printer with the different materials, 1 week I didn't quite know the designs of how to transfer to the 2D, not quite yet. But then as time went on, I finally was able to figure it out. It was a struggle for a long time. And the materials, sometimes I got it wrong and had to take a step back and analyze everything all over again. It was a very extended process, but I just went through it and I finally got it, and I was able to do it. So I had to be patient with my boss because I didn't know what was going on with the 3D printer. So that happened for 2 years or so, and I would never forget such an experience like that. And took about one time there was a terrible weather and the power went out. It took 5 hours for it to come back. And so I got an email from my boss letting me know of everything that happened, and he told me to fix it up, and I was able to send it back to my boss, and the costs and requirements, and it was a very stressful time for me. But then at 5 o'clock at night, Friday night, I was so upset and all this stressful atmosphere that I was in. And so I had to be very patient, had to suffer through it. I went to the office, tried to fix a 3D printer, and I was getting really frustrated inside. I didn't know what was going on with the machine. And in the first square, you could see all of the information coming in. It was easy. But I didn't notice the toolbox. And it was giving me information, but I didn't care. I just looked at the big screen. It was better and easier for me. So I had to figure out how to use the excess and how to work it into the program. And I was getting really upset. I wasn't understanding it. It was just, it was messing up my mind. I was going insane. And the LED, the LED, the LED was a confusing process. I didn't know what to do with it, so I was just looking at it and staring. Didn't know what to do, so I walked up and I told my boss about it. And my boss, he understood, and he understood why I was so upset and why I was frustrated all night here trying to figure it out. And so he gave me he gave me permission to leave, and I was so grateful for him doing that. I was relieved when I could finally leave. So I went back to work later on once I was done with that. So I had to unplug the machines, and I plugged one machine and one screen, and I focused on the one screen. It's around 6, 7, 8 at night, all through night, still struggling with the system, still getting enraged about it. And my boss came up to me, and I had to tell him that I was still struggling with it. My boss asked me if I was hungry, if I wanted pizza, and I'm like, yes, pizza would be amazing. And it's like, I'll buy it, I'll pay for it, you stay here. Oh, I was so happy when he said that pizza, and he brought the pizza. I was able to eat and work at the same time. And around 11 p.m., right, very near to midnight, everything was finally done. Everything was printed. And my boss was able to look it over, and it was perfect. It was all ready to go. We had all of the signs, and we made copies of it, like around 5 copies or so. And we had to do it fast because we didn't have enough time left, but we all did it. We rolled it up, put it into our case, we sent it off. It was good to go. Oh, I was so glad it was done. So relieved. So I sat back home. I sat in my car, went back home, It was 2 in the morning. I mean, I was just so glad it was over. And all in the past experiences, it was fine, but this one was the worst. I mean, 2 a.m. in the morning, and the rain, and the driving in the rain. It was just. Anyway, I had to do a slow speed in the freeway. It was very slippery, so when I got home, it was such a relief for me to just go to bed. And my wife noticed that I was upset and asked me what was wrong. I had to tell her everything, and she understood. And it was the same old lame-o, but as time goes on, it will improve. It was a struggle, but from then on out, I was able to improve in that. So 2 years of working for that, it was very long. And a 3D printer compared to 2 years. And then 15 years, plenty of experience. Now I know all about it. And so I look back and I remember that job, and I look at where I am now, and everything that I've learned, everything that I've internalized inside of me, and me being a student very frustrated with the system. I can understand how it feels now to be where I am.